We'll say the refuge in Bodhicitta verse 3 times, followed by Ye Dharma mantra. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations of practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations of practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations of practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Om Yedharma Hetu Prabhavam Hetum Tesham Dathagato Yavatat Tesham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vati Mahashramanaya Svaha Om Yedharma Hetu Prabhavam Hetum Tesham Dathagato Yavatat Tesham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vati Mahashramanaya Svaha Om Yedharma Hetu Prabhavam Hetum Tesham Dathagato Yavatat Tesham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vati Mahashramanaya Svaha. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata, the cessational causes as well as taught by the great seer. Devata Om Gato Gato Paragato Parasamgato Bodhisvatyata Om Gato Gato Paragato Parasamgato Bodhisvatyata Om Gato Gato Paragato Parasamgato Bodhisvaha. Okay, so what we are going to do is that there are actually 2 sessions for teaching compassion, and then I think much. Okay, thank you so much. It's from Laura?
It's not Laura, it's Magali.
Magali. Okay, thank you. Yes, yes. Okay. Shall we wait for Laura then?
I will go and search for it.
Yes. Okay, so meanwhile, each one of you have your own personal experience, and should you have the things to discuss, share with us, feel free to do so. Okay, thank you. So basically, this we see that as we said in the mantra, Ye Dharma mantra, Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhava Hetum Desham Tathagato Hyavatat, which means that all phenomena arise from the causes, and causes are taught by the Tathagata. And meaning that, so here it is more in the context of our miseries, the suffering that we go through. So they don't arise randomly, they arise from the respective causes. And what the causes are indicated by the Buddha, the Tathagata, the Buddha. And they say that the Buddha taught these causes, and I'm sure many of you already learned from the various sources, and even the last 2018 and 19, 2 years when I was here. In other words, how the miseries, they arise from the miseries, number one. Miseries, they arise from the contaminated karmas, number two. And the contaminated karmas arise from the afflictions, gross afflictions, number three. And the afflictions arise from inappropriate attention, number four. Inappropriate attention, they arise from this self-grasping ignorance, elaboration of self-grasping ignorance. Okay, this is extremely important, and in fact I'm glad that we have the 2 sessions kept for the compassion part. So this way we'll see that we can do things comprehensively. Otherwise, jumping to the Mahamudra teaching, jumping in the air, of course that is very precious teaching. At the same time, without the foundation, it may not prove so helpful. So with this, what I mentioned to you right now, the 5 points, the mechanism by which we suffer in samsara. So that is well explained by Arindyakarjuna in his text, Mula Madhyamaya Karika, the fundamental wisdom of the middle way. So where Arindyakarjuna said one verse, ceasing of karmas and afflictions is nirvana. Let me repeat it. Ceasing means stopping. Ceasing of the karmas and afflictions is nirvana. Karmas and afflictions arise from inappropriate attention, or karmas and afflictions arise from conceptualization of the inappropriate attention, and which in turn arises from the elaboration of self-grasping ignorance. And this elaboration stops through the wisdom of emptiness. Let me repeat it. Ceasing of karmas and afflictions is nirvana. Karmas and afflictions arise from the conceptualization of inappropriate attention, which in turn arises from the elaboration of self-grasping ignorance. And this elaboration ceases through the wisdom of emptiness. Okay, so this is extremely important. This is going to be like the foundation of our, the next 10-day teaching. So in this verse, we see that there are 5 points to keep in mind. Saying, ceasing of karmas and afflictions is nirvana. Nirvana means absolute peace, which we, this morning, which we did. Transcending sorrow is absolute peace, the 4th seal of the Buddhist teachings. Of the 4 seals, the 4th one, transcending sorrow is absolute peace. So this absolute peace refers to nirvana. Ceasing of karmas and afflictions is nirvana. So what's the opposite of nirvana? Anyone? Opposite of nirvana? Samsara. Samsara means miseries. So, opposite of nirvana is samsara. Point number one, samsara. This is where we are in. We are suffering. Samsara. And what triggers samsara? So, contaminated karmas. Ceasing of karmas and afflictions is nirvana. So, you stop the karmas, the suffering stops, and then nirvana is given rise to. So, suffering is given rise to by contaminated karmas. What triggers contaminated karmas? Afflictions, gross afflictions. What triggers contaminated karmas is the gross afflictions. What do you mean by gross afflictions? Okay, don't worry, that we'll discuss later. Gross afflictions. And what triggers gross afflictions? So this is extremely, the beautiful approach of the Buddha's teachings, where you track the causes. And so what triggers the gross afflictions? So it is the conceptualization of inappropriate attention. In simple terms, inappropriate attention. Why I'm adding this word conceptualization is to suit the verse. The verse, so that when you read the verse, it will instantly give you the picture of the inappropriate attention. Conceptualization of inappropriate attention. And don't worry, I'm going to explain each one of them, each one of these points. What triggers the conceptualization of the inappropriate attention? Elaboration of seeing things as objectively real. Okay, so now let me explain each one of them. The first one is suffering. How do you know? How many of you know suffering? What suffering is? Okay, how many of you are expert in knowing the knowledge of suffering? How many are expert in this? Yes, that I'm an expert. Due to emptiness, I'm not sure, but suffering, I know what it is, right? Sickness, aging, death, tension, depression, conflicts in the family, conflicts with friends. Extremely painful. We are really expert, but we forget. I say the moment, again we have some meetings or some parties, again we forget the sufferings, right? Okay. Otherwise we are expert, and there's some sufferings that are so agonizing, so painful, extremely painful. And sometimes, so my job is to listen to the suffering of people. That's my job. My own suffering, and listen more to other suffering, and then say where I can help. Yes, you can do like this, do like that. Sometimes there's no escape. It's not like in a roller coaster. What to do sometimes is so we become so helpless. So there's suffering. So that suffering is because of the karmas. What we do. So for example, say you're born in the Scandinavian countries, or let's say Europe, and particularly the Scandinavian countries, in the winter is so cold, gloomy, dark, moisture, wet, right? And then the 2 o'clock already dark, and your mind sinks in, right? And then you don't hear any sound, any voice. People simply all go to the respective rooms, so gloomy, dark. So that's undesirable experience. And some places so hot, 46, 47, 48, 49 degrees centigrade. And in Europe, 40 degrees centigrade, heat wave, everybody is talking about it, news. But in India, it's so normal. In Delhi, particularly in Delhi, where I came from, it's so normal. 40 is very normal. 40 is normal, and here 40 means, heat wave, be careful. Some places there's a problem with the heat, some places there's a problem with the cold. And we don't like these experiences. And what we don't like, these are the miseries. So there must be a reason, there must be a cause. Not a reason, there must be a cause. What is the cause? So examining the causes of these, this is something so unique of the Buddha's teachings. So, one question that I ask the audience is, by the way, keep in mind that whatever we're doing here, the studies that we're doing here, keep in mind that we are doing this not just like to learn something intellectual. Intellectual is so important. This is a foundation, intellectual. Plus, whatever we learn, see if you feel convinced. This is important. See if you feel convinced. If you don't feel convinced, oh yeah, this like this, emptiness is not something negative, this like this. But what exactly is emptiness? If it doesn't come to your mind, then the purpose is not as much fulfilled. So whatever we learn, we make it a point that we understand something, we're convinced, oh yeah, that really resonates the reality. That is so important. Otherwise, not for the sake of formalities. Oh, I attended this teaching on the adverse mind training, then the Mahamudra. I got this teaching. No, that is not the purpose. The purpose is that you should be convinced. What we are studying, we should be convinced. It's so important for you and for me. Okay. For that matter, the one thing that I ask people is that some of you, I don't know if I asked the same question to you during my last 2 visits, is that I gave, some of you, those who were present last time, many of you were present last time. Raise hands, those who were present last time. 2019, I think, 1918, raise hands. One of the 2 years. Okay, raise hands. Okay. Oath, you also, right? Yes. And here also. Yes. Your name? Tomar, yes. Oh. Tomar from French or from Israel?
France.
From France. In Israel also Tomar is popular. Yes. Okay. So what I asked is that I live in Delhi and I may create a story. It may not resonate the reality. Just to see how you think. And in Delhi is, let's say, in the month of May, June, July, it's the dry weather. It's not the weather moisture. Moisture it is the dry weather. And I live on the 3rd floor. And there's a moisture dampness in my room, the dampness in the house. And I started to have asthma problem. It's not real, I'm just creating a story. I started to have asthma problem. I don't want this asthma problem. What advice would you give me? Quick.
To move somewhere else.
Okay. To move somewhere. Raise hands. Open the windows. Very good.
Clean the air conditioning system.
Clean the air conditioning system. Good. Any more advice? I'm seeking advice so that I can go back to Delhi and I don't have to suffer asthma anymore. Mary?
Je vais chercher d'où vient l'humidité.
I will check the source of the moisture.
How?
Ben, parce que s'il y a de l'humidité, c'est qu'elle vient quelque part. Donc, je vais soit enlever le tapis, soit enlever tout ce que je sens que c'est humide pour voir d'où ça vient l'humidité et puis réparer ça avant.
There is moisture, it comes from somewhere, so I will get rid of the carpet and we'll check where it comes from.
Anyone else? More advice?
Go talk to your neighbor. Maybe there's a leaking from your neighbor.
Okay, go to the neighbor, talk to the neighbor, to see if there's any leakage happening.
From upstairs.
Good. Anyone else? Okay, in fact, I get lots of advice from people. Some people advise me to move the house, and I have lots of books. And on the third floor, from there, carrying down is very problematic. And move the house is not easy. Again, you have to, you need time to talk to the real estate people. And some people say, open the window. But then if you open the window, in France also you have mosquitoes. In Delhi also we have lots of mosquitoes. Then what else? Clean the table and so forth. Yes, but after some time again it becomes wet or become damp. And some people say buy dehumidifier. Dehumidifier to suck the moisture. And some people say go to hospital to treat some people say do exercise, do yoga. Okay, so the point is that buying dehumidifier is very expensive, and if it goes wrong, again you have to call the mechanic, and the mechanic will say I'll come tomorrow, it never comes, and I continue to have the problem. So all these things are there. So the point is, as two of them pointed out, your name? Christine and the Mary pointed out, yes, I said that I'm on the third floor. Third floor means the water is not coming from the bottom. It's not coming from the floor. And I said that the weather, overall speaking, it is dry. It is not wet. So in some places it's wet. Say even though there's no source of leakage there, still the house can become damp because of the heavy fog and the rain. So while the weather is dry, I'm on the third floor. There should be no reason why the damage should occur unless and until it is from a leakage. If you track the leakage, then it is not like water coming out like this, oozing out. If it is oozing out, you can see that very clearly. It must be very tiny or a very fine crack, and it's not visible. So once you discover that, then you buy some glue. In India we call it MS. MS glue. Okay, there's one glue there. Glue will cost you just few cents. Fix that, all the problems are solved. So identify the root cause. This is so important. Even medically speaking, the doctors, some doctors, they just treat you symptomatically. Whatever symptoms come, you treat that. Okay, you have asthma, treat asthma, and not looking for the source. This is a huge problem, even medically speaking. In the medical science, some of the doctors, they only treat you symptomatically. They don't really check your root cause of the problem. Some doctors are very smart. They check the root cause. And Dr. Patrick will check the root cause. Okay. So this is so important. Likewise, we're talking about the 5 points. Suffering, the immediate causes, contaminant karmas. And what triggered the contaminant karmas? The gross affliction. For example, what is contaminant karmas? Let's say karma means, in English, it is action. Karma means action, activity. It's simply action. So, for example, let's say that all these, our human actions, or the actions of the sentient beings, like human actions, for example, let's say that, okay, can you read what's going in my mind now? Okay, now can you read what's going in my mind? What's going in my mind? Yes, I must be feeling thirsty. I want to have it. So this is going in my mind, although I was not talking to you. So this is what is going in my mind. So what's going in my mind, which is not visible, but what is visible is action, karma. So this karma is the immediate cause of the suffering, and this karma is driven by the thought processes inside, which is not visible, thought processes. So the thought processes, we said that they are destructive thought process, and they are positive thought processes. Destructive and positive thought processes. So destructive thought processes, for example, let's say that if I'm so extremely crazy after the flowers, my mind is constantly go after this or here, right? So which means that my mind is acutely after this, and if I'm fed up by the flowers, so no matter how much the flower is there in front of you, don't look at it. So from there you see that he doesn't really like flowers. So what's going in your mind can be reflected in your actions. So these actions are the immediate cause of the miseries, and these actions are driven by the thought process inside, some of which are constructive, some of which are destructive. Okay, so these destructive thoughts, particularly the miseries in the form of acute pain, suffering, these are results of the destructive thoughts. These destructive thoughts are known as gross afflictions, such as attachment, anger, jealousy, and so forth. These are the destructive thoughts referred to as afflictions. So we see that miseries given us to buy contaminant karmas. Contaminant karmas given us to buy afflictions, particularly the gross afflictions. And these afflictions are because of the inappropriate attention. So we added the word conceptualization. So this inappropriate attention comes to you through your concepts. So it says conceptualization of the inappropriate attention. What does it mean by inappropriate attention? Okay, so the inappropriate attention is, these are technical terms which the Buddhist psychologists, they borrow from the English, because we're conveying the concepts in English. So we have to borrow English words. So this is how this word is borrowed. The thing is that it is a technical the word, we have to understand it in the context how it is used in the Buddhist psychology. Because that we are studying Buddhist psychology here. So in Buddhist psychology, let's say that this sounds okay, good. But then if I exaggerate the quality of the flower, if I exaggerate the quality of the quality, not just the object, but if I exaggerate the quality of the object, that is known as inappropriate attention. Inappropriate attention is the conceptualization which exaggerates the quality of the object. When you say exaggerating quality of the object, it can exaggerate the good qualities or it can exaggerate the bad qualities. When somebody may be relatively bad, but not too bad, but when you are angry towards a person, you exaggerate the person is absolutely bad. Whereas when you love somebody, although the person may be nice to some extent, but not fully, when you love the person, you exaggerate the person's absolutely nice. So exaggerating the qualities of the other object, that is known as conceptualization of the inappropriate attention. Then finally, ignorance, which exaggerates the object per se. Which exaggerates the object. For example, let's say that some of you, how many of you are fond of flowers? Raise hands. How many of you are fond of flowers? Okay, how many of you are so-so with flowers? Raise hands. So-so with flowers. What about those people who do not raise your hands? So-so? Okay, let's say that some people are so-so with the flowers. You have the flower, good. No flowers, also fine. Some people with the flower are so good. No flower is a little sad. Okay, let's say there are two groups. And I ask you, what is this? Do you agree with me that both sides will say that this is a flower? Whether you like it or not, both sides will say that this is a flower. Yes, no. Yes. You are seeing the object. You are not talking about the characteristics of the object. The next, I ask you, is this flower beautiful or not? Those people who like the flower will say it's very beautiful. Those who do not like the flower will say it's so-so. So, the difference comes when I ask you the characteristics. But the basic object, you all agree this is a flower. You getting it? Okay. So now, this is extremely important. This is extremely important. Okay. Okay. Let's say that you're dreaming. You're dreaming, and then in the dream you are in Kalachakra Center, attending a class, and then in the dream I raised a mobile. What's a mobile? It's a dream mobile, it's not real mobile. Because I'm a dream person. A dream person picking up a dream mobile. Then I ask you, okay, this is a mobile, and you look at it very clearly. You look at it, yes, this is mobile, number one. Then you look at it very closely. This is not only a mobile, this says brand new iPhone 13. Number two. So what? I like it. Geshe is so kind, he will exchange my mobile with his. Geshe, may I have the two mobiles exchanged? And your friend says, no, I said it before he entered. I said it first. So, you are attached to the mobile and you are angry towards your competitor. These two are the afflictions. And then what happened? You have the fist fight. That is karma. And then the police comes to take you to the prison, which is samsara. Okay. And then you end up in samsara. You end up in prison. And your mother is so keen to call you, could not reach you. And then she called up Megali. What happened to my daughter? What happened to my son? Oh, I'm very sorry, they end up in prison. And then the mother went to the prison. You went to Kalachakra Center for the teaching and you end up in prison. What happened? Oh, prison is not my place. It's not a nice place. Because I fought. Karma. Why did you fight? Because I feel so attached to the Geshe mobile and I feel angry towards this person. Affliction. Why did you attach to the mobile? Because it's not just a mobile, it's the iPhone 13 brand new. Right? Exaggeration to quality of the mobile. And then just forget about iPhone 13. It's just a dream mobile. And you say dream mobile is real. That is ignorance. So we see 5 points. Okay, let me say it again. So why do you end up in prison? Why? Prison is suffering. So why number 5? Why you end up in prison? Because of the?
Fight.
Because of the fight, right? Because of the fight. That is karma. Why did you fight?
Affection.
Attachment to the mobile and aversion to your anger towards the competitor. That is gross affliction. Why do you have this affliction? Because of seeing the mobile because of the inappropriate attention. Exaggerating the quality of the mobile is a brand new what? iPhone 13 Pro. Right? That is the exaggeration of the quality of the mobile. That is inappropriate attention. And how come that you say mobile, the iPhone 13 there? Yes, there's mobile there. Is that mobile or is it dream mobile? It's a dream mobile and you see the dream mobile as the real mobile. That is a root cause. Say, if you don't want to end up in prison, what should you have done? You should have stopped fighting. You should stop the karma. To stop the karma, what should you have done? You should not have attachment to the mobile and aversion to your competitor. To not to have the attachment to the mobile, what should you have done? You should not have seen the mobile as iPhone 13 brand new Pro. Right? For that, not to have this, what you should have done, you should have not seen the dream mobile as real mobile. So, to undo number 5, you have to undo number 4. Undo number 4, undo number 3. Undo number 3, undo number 2. Undo number 2, undo number 1. So in other words, the root cause of all the miseries is seeing the dream mobile as a real mobile. How many agree with me? Raise hands in this case. Good. Just see in your life, see that many of our problems follow these 5 steps every time you have a problem. Say, for example, you have some conflicts with your friend, and then your mind feels agitated. This samsara. It's because of the conflict, karma. Why karma? Because of this mental, say, dislike towards other person, this affliction. Why? Because you exaggerate some qualities that person, bad quality. Why you exaggerate? You see the person's objective real. So we see that in all our, say, the mental agitations, and some which are unseen, some are seen, some which are so visible. So if you believe it or not, these 5 points, in your life when you feel agitated, just see whether these 5 points actually are applicable to how the mechanism of your problems. Just check it. And you will see that in many cases, they are absolutely true. It holds so true there. And in some cases, for example, like say that you have let's say, you're diagnosed with some illness. So, say 14 years ago, I had tuberculosis. I was diagnosed with tuberculosis, and then this tuberculosis is the samsara or the pain. It's result of karma. What kind of karma I did, I don't know. In the past, I don't know. Some which are unseen from the past lives, but many is seen, visible. Apply this, and then see how to stop the root. But to stop the root, you stop the contaminated karmas to the best you can. And to stop these contaminated karmas, you have to stop the gross afflictions to the best you can. And if you don't put effort to say mitigate, not to stop, to mitigate the power of the contaminated karmas, afflictions and the inappropriate attention, then to see emptiness, to stop the root cause, that is way far away. Is too far away from us. So we have to put effort to mitigate the power of the contaminated karmas, gross afflictions, inappropriate attention. Only then, when you go to the emptiness, with emptiness, it will, you will see the effect of that. Okay. So this is something we have to know. Once you know that, how the miseries arise, and then on that basis, then you see that, okay, this is how the miseries arise within me. Then, what do you want? This is the next question. What do you want in your life? Don't think that you are a Buddhist. Don't think that you are following the Kalachakra Center, teaching and so forth. Just imagine yourself as a very simple person, ordinary person. And what are your aspirations? Anyone? Quick. In your life? Huh? To stop suffering? Happiness? Anyone else? Huh? Freedom? Huh? Peace. Anyone else?
Health.
Good health. Very good.
Joy.
Okay, this is only a very mature audience. Because many people say that I want wealth, I want adventure, I want good health, then I want good family. And recently, where was that? In Oxford, the mother's concern is that the mother she has a son and daughter, and she told me, Geshe-la, please pray. Pray what? Pray that my son will have the good partner. And my daughter will have she's wanted to start a family. So these are all the realities. These are all the realities. Right? So this is why I'm saying this very mature audiences, that you don't talk about, your really day-to-day life, the problems. Okay, so what I'm saying is that just be very honest and see what you're seeking. You, your family members, your friends, what they are seeking. And some people, when they come into the Buddhism or Buddhist teachings, when they become more inclined towards this, then some of them they come up with the common, not really complaint as such, but the common problem. They say that now many of his or her friends, they dissociate themselves from him or her, that they start to feel him or her very boring to deal with. We're always talking about bodhicitta, wisdom, emptiness, suffering, right? Self-grasping ignorance, self-centered attitude. All these, the party, these all disappeared from the person. So they found this person so boring. So what I'm saying is that people have different aspirations. And believe it or not, or however varied these aspirations are, we can boil them all down to two. Some related to, say, the getting rid of your suffering, minimizing your suffering. Other, to expand your happiness. To have happiness or expand happiness. These are the two things. For example, some say that I just want money. Money speaks everything. With money, when you're sick, you can go to the best of the doctors. When you want to celebrate birthday parties, you can throw parties. If you don't have money, you can't do anything. Money speaks everything. So I want money. Some people say like that. So why money? Some people say, no, I want power. I want fame. Some people, they sacrifice their life for fame. I want fame. What if you get fame? I'll be happy. What if you get money? Then my health is taken care of. What if your health is taken care of? Then I'll be happy. Okay, so why you want adventures? With adventure, it makes me happy. Why you want good family, I'm happy. In other words, superficially, they may vary. You ask the second question, why you need that? Then all will come to the same point, to get rid of miseries and to embrace your happiness. As simple as that. This is something we must be convinced of. Okay, so with this, the next question is, what extent of misery you want to get rid of? What extent of happiness you want? This next question. Okay, if somebody were to ask you, what is your response? What degree of suffering you want to get rid of? 10%, 20%, 100%? Anyone?
100%.
Huh? 100%. If possible, 100%. If possible, 100%. What degree of happiness do you want? 10, 20, 100? Huh? 100. Okay. Some people say that, that's interesting. Some people say that I want 80% happiness. 20% suffering. Because with 20% suffering, then I'll realize 80% is actually happy. Right? To realize happiness, I need to have a little bit of experience on happiness. So I tell the people, that person who gives this answer, I tell the other people that give this person, of the 10-day retreat, make this person remain hungry for 2 days. 20% unhappy, and 80% give him food. 20% don't give him food. If the food, give him only the 80% of food. Don't give full food, only 80%. If probably maybe with the breakfast, remove the cheese for this person, right? So these are all very impractical answers. The person's not realistic. Because if you're very realistic, you say that everybody is seeking 100% happiness. Okay. Now next question. Is it possible? Can we get 100% happiness? This question.
I don't know. I don't know.
William? Okay. Not possible. Okay. Anyone else?
Pas dans samsara.
Not in samsara.
Not in samsara. Can samsara be removed?
Yes.
Okay, so the point is that all these questions must be asked, must be addressed. Because if you just keep floating your ideas, not really getting convinced, then your practice also going to be very shallow. So if you feel that, no, it's not possible, it's not possible, it's fine. And I don't know, it's also fine. Yes. If you say yes, the next question will be how. So if you say, I don't think so, or I don't know, I would suggest is maintain an open mind. Maintain an open mind. Whatever answer that comes to your mind is fine. I don't think so. It's also fine, but maintain an open mind to somebody who will say that yes, it is possible. When somebody says yes, it is possible, you feel free to ask how. How? And then see if it makes sense to you. Till it makes sense to you, you continue your questions. This is so important. You got? So with this, I'm going to make it very quick because this is to take us to the compassion practice. In other words, we want to say with the COVID-19 tells us that nobody wants fear, nobody wants miseries. How many of you felt the feeling of uncertainty when the COVID-19 started to shoot up in your country? Raise hands. How many felt uncertainty? Oh, it's so uncertain. There's no place to run. You know, there's no place to run to escape. But wherever there's COVID. Okay. So in my case, what happened was that. So I started to protect all the staff of Tibet House, and I kept them in Tibet House. I did not let them go in their respective places, otherwise they can easily get COVID and there will be a problem. Who will take care of them? So I put them all in Tibet House, boys in one group, girls in another group. And suddenly, and of course they are all adults, they are not children. Adults means they will go out. Yeah. Then we are telling this COVID, we are keeping you in Tibet House for your own benefit, for your own life. So, sir, I have to go for this reason. How can I stop? And then, after a while, one girl started to cough. And of course, naturally, everybody else will try to isolate her. So I started to feel this little uneasy. Other people may isolate her. So I consoled her, saying that I don't think this is COVID, don't worry. Simply, you try to get away from, don't stay too close with other people. Stay by yourself. And she's mixing with other people. And then after 2 or 3 days, another girl said, I have a headache. Oh. Then I told the secretary that, okay, now these 2 girls will have COVID test. If both negative, fine, we are safe. If one comes positive, 2 comes positive, then we all have to go through checkup. Then tested and 1 came out positive. And I said, anybody who's connected with Tibet House will have tests, and 7 came out positive. 7 came out. That was during the Delta variant. So what happened was the first, another staff tested positive. My neighbor in my residence. So I ran from my residence to Tibet House. And Tibet House, 7 people came out positive. So where to run now? Okay, this is what the feeling of uncertainty. Wherever you go, it's same. This tells us that nobody wants suffering. Nobody wants suffering. If there was one person who would say that, oh, I'm so happy that I'm tested positive, then I would say that I agree, okay, so there's somebody who likes suffering. But nobody wants suffering. This is the reality. Okay, one. Then number two is the happiness. Everybody craves for happiness. So now the question is, not only we like happiness, we want to expand happiness. Not only we want to get rid of suffering, we want to get rid of suffering altogether. So whether that is possible. So this is a huge question. And this morning what we said was that to become a Buddha, say just handful of sunflowers, a handful of sand, you squeeze it. However much effort you put, no oil will come out of it. By squeezing a handful of sand, yes, the oil, a handful of sunflower seeds, oil does come out. So, for us to become Buddha, there must be some seed inside, seed of Buddhahood. If it is not there, then you cannot really, with whatever effort that you put in, you cannot become a Buddha. So, is there a seed? Answer is 100% yes. Everyone has the seed of perfection, seed of ultimate happiness, and seed of total fearlessness. It is there within each one of us. How do we know this? Is the next question. How do we know this? For this, we need extensive studies. We need to know we need to know what is known as Buddha nature, the seed of the perfection that exists within each one of us. And one of the best books that we can think of is Arya Nagarjuna's text in praise of Dharmadhatu, Dharmadhatu's Tava. This book is the best. It explains in great detail how this Buddha nature is present within each one of us. It's for this reason that the Buddha Shakyamuni became so courageous to revolutionize the whole concept of the whole concept of the civility in India, and he really stood against any form of prejudice, any form of discrimination, including gender discrimination, caste discrimination. All these things, he stood so firm against these, saying that there should be no reason why there should be discrimination against on the basis of the gender, on the basis of caste, creed, and so forth, because everyone has the equal potential. Whether you boy or girl, there's no difference. That is, in terms of your potential to become Buddha, everyone is same. That gave him so much of power, so much of courage to fight for the equality. In those days, it's very dangerous for somebody to fight against the gender discrimination. People can actually kill you because people are so blindly following the belief that the males are more important than the females. This was so strong there, and the Buddha so courageously stood against that. And of course the Buddha also faced many challenges by the opponents who were totally against the Buddha's advocacy to the equality of gender, equality of caste, and so forth. Okay, so to make it very simple, the Buddha nature, the seed of perfection within each one, we must get conviction. We must gain conviction in this, that I do have the seed of perfection. When you get this conviction, you become very, courageous, and you become deep inside. You become very happy. You become very confident that if I put effort, I can also become, evolve. I can also succeed. This conviction will come to you. Okay. Yes, for some of you it may be like a repetition, but this is extremely important for some. I can see new faces here. Is that what is this Buddha nature? I'd like to give you a simple example, and this example is so important, particularly in the context of the Mahamudra practice, which we are going to study eventually. In this context, our mind, so finally you are sad, you are unhappy, or you are very happy, you are very eloquent, or you are very elegant, you have such presence there. This is all determined by your mind. How many agree with me, raise hands? At least 50% above, if you agree, raise hands. 50% above, right? Oh, that's true, the mind. So sometimes this is what I used to think of when I was very young, age 15, 16, 17. Sometimes I feel so low. I look at, say the wall, this wall is also big, the wall is also feeling sad. And with the plants are also very drooping, sad. I look at the weather, but it's also very sad. I eat, let's say the food also looks so sad. Everything looks so sad. The whole world looks so sad. And suddenly somebody comes with such a presence. I'm just wondering, he must be also very sad. No, he looks so elegant, so confident, so full of the presence there. I'm just wondering, how come? For him, the world looks very different. But for me, the whole world looks so gloomy and sad. So what's the difference? I was just constantly examining, how come that this person is so different? He or she creates a world which is very different, so beautiful, every way is so beautiful, so nice, perfect. And for me, everything's going wrong. So what's the difference? So then we come to realize that it's related to your mind. How your mind, what the external world is only but the reflection of your own mind. So this is so important, this recognition. Then, say Mahamudra will help us how to tackle the mind directly rather than tackling external factors. Tackle the mind directly to see the world very beautiful, very differently. And there are some other techniques where the mind and the energy, physical energy, not the physical energy like the magnetic energy, is within the mind where sometimes you feel extremely sad. You can literally feel heaviness in the heart. How many had this feeling? Raise your hand. When you feel extremely sad or extremely upset, so heavy inside, you could literally feel that it's like dragging you down. Raise hands. Who had that experience? Good. This is what you could physiologically feel. It's not just a mental thought. It's a physiologically you could feel it. That's the energy. Your energy is concentrated in a very undesirable way, in an undesirable form. The more concentrated it is, the more heavy you feel, and so dragging you down, putting you down. Okay. And so this is big. And sometimes when you meditate emptiness or bodhicitta, you can feel the tingling sensations in the body. So this is the subtle energy flowing through your body. And sometimes when you meditate emptiness, say you feel extreme, say around somewhere around your chest. Say you never noticed before. Now with the meditation emptiness, sometimes once in a while, you see that the turbulence, you call it vibrations. These vibrations subside. It becomes so tranquil, peaceful. You never experienced before. Then you realize that all these many years, they almost like you can say day one you're born, from there till today, till you experience a little bit of emptiness where the turbulence subsides. All along your mind, there's this physiological turbulence which you did not notice because it was your normal. It became your normal. Now you are getting a new normal where this turbulence subsides. It's so peaceful, extremely tranquil feeling. So this is on the level of the energy, and the energy related to your mind. Then your mind feels the calmness. So here we see that Mahamudra tackles the mind directly, and there are other techniques which tackle the energy and the mind is affected. So there are various techniques there. So with this, we talk about the Buddha nature, the seed of perfection that exists within us. So finally we see that whether you're happy, not happy, whatever, is all determined by your mind. One. Now, if there is the mind decides whether you're happy or unhappy, say someone eating a very expensive, delicious food, there's no taste when there's so much of fear, agitation within you. You don't feel the taste. How many agree with me in a sense? You don't taste the food at all, even if you get the best of the food. It does not taste at all. Where you're with somebody who really loves you, takes care of you, and that you are seeing this person after like 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, your mother, your brother, sister, and so forth. After all these many years, then you are sitting together, although there's nothing really to eat, but a very simple dry bread, even that is so, so delicious. Even that is so beautiful moment. How many agree with me? Raise your hands. So we see that this are all the mental states. So with this, we see that if you can, it is all on the very minuscule level. Now you can tackle the mind, to modify the mind in such a way that, say, where a situation for ordinary people is going to be very upsetting and the overwhelming and very painful, you can modify the mind in such a way that you experience peace, happiness, calmness. I remember reading His Holiness's book. In one of his biographies, I don't know whether there are two biographies of His Holiness. One is My Land and My People. Other one is Freedom in Exile. There are two. And My Land, My People is the old one, and Freedom in Exile is a new one. This is a beautiful book. If you have not read it, I would highly, highly recommend you reading it. It must be available in French as well. Freedom in Exile, My Land and My People. I think it is in the first book, My Land and My People, where His Holiness said that I feel so grateful that I feel so meritorious that I was born in a simple peasant family. This is what he said. Because of this, I could see the situation of the poor people. I could understand the situation of the poor people. That he can work to help the poor people. This is what His Holiness said. And so with this, they say, if you know that it's all about your mental state, then how to fix it? This next question. So for this mental state, number one, your mind should have that potential to experience the infinite happiness, to experience the total fearlessness, which the Buddha said, yes, 100% it is there. But let us not just blindly follow the Buddha. Let us not just blindly follow the Buddha, because some of you already know that when I was in Cambridge, this time I went to Cambridge just for that purpose, to meet my old long-time friends who were being so kind in hosting me to study in Cambridge, 2003. So it's almost like 18 years that I'm going there again to meet my long-term friends who are helping me. And so there in Cambridge, 2003, I met a physicist, a brilliant physicist. And what he said was that in this world, only physics is education. Okay, anyone who is from physics background? Gumbala, and Sophie, anyone else? Physics background? Here? Your name, sorry? Katia. Katia 3? Okay. So which means that according to him, there are only 3 people who are into education. Right? The rest of us were not from education. Okay. So what he said was, in this world, only physics is education. And I said, why? He said that because only physics allows you to have a critical thinking. All others are imitation of the earlier teachers. Let me repeat it. Only physics is education because only physics allows you to have a critical thinking. All others are imitation of your earlier teachers. So I said, okay, if this is the reason that he gave, then listen to what the Buddha has to say. Then I studied the Buddha's verse, when the Buddha said, the bhikshus and the wise people, just as goldsmith tests the purity of the gold by cutting, rubbing and burning the gold, You should also examine my words and put them into practice, not simply because you respect me. And he remained silent for a few seconds. He said, "Oh, the Buddha must have been a great physicist." So with this, the analysis, this is so important. The Buddha said, yes, we all have this pseudo perfection. It doesn't matter whether you're male or non-male, whether you're female or non-female, it doesn't matter. Everyone has a pseudo perfection. There should be no discrimination on the basis of gender. There should be no discrimination on the basis of caste, creed, or whatever. And what's the reason? We are not to follow blindly, but the Buddha has given this very courageous statement, and we see if that makes sense to us. So for this, one of the best books that we can see to the efficacy of this Buddha's teaching is Nagarjuna's text in praise of Dharmadhatu. Dharmadhatu Stava. Dharmadhatu Stava. In English, it is in praise of Dharmadhatu. Dharmadhatu meaning the ultimate expanse. Ultimate expanse that exists within you, that exists within all the other beings, the Buddha nature. Okay. And with this, the common example that I give, this is so important. I'm going to give this here. I should not miss giving this again here, because that we're going to do the Mahamantra teaching later on. This is so important. The Mahamantra teaching finally rests on this conviction that your mind, the true nature of your mind is so pure. The true nature of mind is so pure. What does it mean by that? What does it mean by that? How can we be convinced of this? These are two questions. So for that, this analogy would be extremely helpful. Let's say a dirty river, that we take water from the dirty river and you're not going to drink it. By the way, is there dirty water around? Dirty river? No, dirty river.
There is a small stream.
Not dirty.
Not sure.
No, in France.
La Seine.
Seine.
In Paris, it's very dirty.
How to spell it?
Seine.
Seine. Okay, Seine River. So you're very thirsty, very hot weather and very thirsty, and Seine River, give water? No, I'll not drink it. Why not? It's very dirty. It's very dirty. And subject the same water to purification process, like ultrafiltration, then what is that? I forgot. Reverse osmosis, ultrafiltration. Through these processes, it is purified, and finally very clean water comes out. All these bottled water that you get from the shops, they all went through this process, this treatment. So you want to drink it now? Yes, it's so clean. My question to you, where did this clean water come from? From where did it come? There's no question. From the Seine River or from Mount Kailash? Not from Mount Kailash, from Seine River. But Seine River, the water is dirty. Let's not forget it. So another example that I give is like, say the Buddha statue. Let's say made of brass. And I saw some golden Buddha statue. I want a Buddha statue which is gold. So I want this same Buddha statue as gold. What will you do? You remove the brass particles. Remove the brass particles, and then the Buddha statue disappears. Whereas with the dirty water, Seine River, you remove the dirt, the water does not disappear. Instead, the water becomes very clean. Whereas for this Buddha statue made of brass, you remove the brass particles, the Buddha statue disappears. Instead of the Buddha statue becoming gold, Buddha statue disappears. My question to you is, in the first case, with the Seine River, instead of the water disappearing, why the water became very clean? Number one. In the case of the Buddha statue, brass Buddha statue, instead of the Buddha statue becoming gold, why the Buddha statue disappeared altogether? This is my question. Anybody? Very quick. Raise hands. Raise hands. Yes.
Because the nature of water is purity, And there was also some dirt, but if you remove the dirt, the true nature is there, and the nature of is not gold. So if you remove the brass, then you have nothing. You don't have the gold because the nature is not.
Your name?
Christine.
Oh, how many agree with Christian? Which sense? What Christian said is that the nature of the Seine River is true nature. It's very clean, so clean. The dirt or the impurity that we see there, these are all adventitious. They are not the true nature of the water. Whereas with the brass statue, the true nature of the brass statue itself is brass. It's not gold. So when you remove the true nature, you remove the brass, you remove the true nature. When you remove the true nature, then the statue disappears. Whereas when you, with the water, the Seine River, when you remove the dirt, you are not removing the true nature. You remove the dirt, you remove the adventitious nature. You remove the adventitious nature, then the true nature becomes manifest. True nature becomes manifest. That is purity. So likewise, our mind is not like this, the brass Buddha nature, what is a brass Buddha statue. Our mind is like the dirty water. Dirty water. But the true nature of mind is so pure. Just as the true nature of the river Seine is so pure, the true nature of mind is so pure. Okay. And this one has to gain conviction with the help of this example. One must gain conviction. This is so important. Then you feel like engaging in virtues, practice compassion, practice wisdom and emptiness, to stop the anger, stop shouting at your mother. All these things will happen very effectively when you get a conviction in the fact that your mind is like the dirty water, but the true nature of mind is as pure as the true nature of the river Seine. Okay. So with this, the next part is okay, which means that if the true nature of my mind becomes manifest, if the true nature of my mind becomes manifest by remove metal dirts, then you will have what you want: the fearlessness and infinite happiness. So with this, let me make it a little technical. I don't mean to say make it difficult. Make it a little technical. Is that what we said is that we seek two things. Deep inside, we seek two things. One is to get rid of the fears, to get rid of the miseries. Another one is to embrace happiness. Okay, how many agree with me, your sense? Good. My next question. Who agrees with me? The Buddhist or non-Buddhist? All. The boys or non-boys? Huh? Oh, the French or the non-French? All. You getting it? This is so important. So, nobody wants the fear. Nobody wants miseries. Everybody wants to experience fearlessness. This fearlessness, in a secular sense, in secular terms, it is known as fearlessness or no miseries. In Buddhist connotation or in Buddhist terms, it is known as nirvana. Technically, it is known as nirvana. In a secular sense, it is fearlessness. And so likewise, say the infinite happiness. Who is that who wants infinite happiness? French or non-French? Males or non-males? All the Buddhists, non-Buddhists. Everybody wants the infinite happiness. How many agree with me? Raise hands. So this, what we call as infinite happiness, is technically known as Buddhahood. Buddhahood doesn't mean that you should be Buddhist. There's not a meaning. It simply means that your mind is totally freed of the mental defilements, and that your mind, the true nature of mind, has become becomes manifested fully. That is the meaning of Buddhahood. Buddha is a Sanskrit word. It means awakening. It simply means awakening, that your mind is awakened fully. Why awakened? Why this word awakened is added? This will you come to realize later on. Okay, that will keep it later. So now, what we seek is, nirvana and Buddhahood in technical terms. In secular terms, fearlessness and infinite happiness. This is what we seek. If we seek that, we should have the potential to acquire that. Do we have the potential? Yes. What is that potential known as? That potential is, in secular terms, it is known as the seat of perfection. In, say, the technical term, it is known as the Buddha nature. Seat of perfection or Buddha nature. We have that. Then, so with this, the aspiration to acquire the fearlessness is known as renunciation. Aspiration to acquire the infinite happiness known as bodhicitta. Let's not forget it. So we have the two goals. Within the Buddha nature, there are the two seats of perfection and there are two aspirations. There are two aspirations, renunciation and bodhicitta. That is more in a technical sense. So now, let's say the fearlessness, to make it, of course, later on, particularly with the Mahamudra teaching, this fearlessness part will be dealt with in more detail. This fearless, in very briefly, let's say that how many you had very scary dreams or nightmares once in a while? Recent? Nightmares, scary dreams. Good. And how many you had very beautiful dreams? At least once in your life. Very good. And so, within the same dream, very nice dream, followed by very scary dreams. Makes sense? Okay, good. Within the same dream, very nice and very scary dream. Within the same dream. Okay. Let's say that this is very important. Say you have a very scary dream. Let's say a ghost is chasing you. And then let's say that Venerable Jimbala comes. Then he said, Om Mani Padme Hum. And the ghost runs away. Right? You are happy? Can I leave now? Okay, you said, thank you, Jimbala. And Jimbala leaves, and the ghost comes back from behind the tree. Right? And this time Jimbala doesn't come, and then the ghost is about to grab at you. And when you're on the verge, you say, now I'm dead. When you say I'm dead, right? Then your mom wakes you up. Right? So, say the first one, the ghost is coming to chase you. Very scary, you don't like it. And Jimbala comes and scares the ghost. You're so happy, number 2. Number 3, Jimbala leaves and the ghost comes back and now about to grab at you. So much fear. Number 4, your mother wakes you up. Of these 4 moments, which you prefer the most, reasons? Of these 4 moments. Okay, and Sophie? The mother wake me up. Okay, how many are giving with ends of reasons? Okay, how many you prefer the Jimbala coming in the dream? Okay. How many you prefer the 4th one? The mother will come to wake you up? Oh, reasons? Okay. This is known as waking up. Waking up. This is known as the seat of awakening. So, waking up, there are 2. One's partial waking up, other one's full waking up. Partial waking up is nirvana. Full waking up is Buddhahood. And nirvana, and even the Buddha, keep this in mind. I also would like to have the technicalities included. Buddhahood is also a nirvana. Buddhahood is also a nirvana. For example, let's say the high school graduation and PhD graduation, right? Somebody who is graduated, who did PhD, also did graduated high school. But when you say high school graduate, it means somebody who graduated high school and yet to graduate college or universities. This is how we understand it. But technically, all those who are graduated, who are PhD graduated, they're also high school graduate. Right? They're also high school graduate. But when we say high school graduate, we get the impression, we talk about those people who who have graduated from high school but not yet graduated from the college and universities. You're getting it? Likewise, when you say nirvana in general, it's a Buddhahood is like a PhD, and nirvana is like graduated from high school. So PhD means you have to graduate from high school. So nirvana, Buddhahood is nirvana, but when you say nirvana and Buddhahood, nirvana is a personal nirvana, not the full nirvana. Personal nirvana. So this personal nirvana is partial liberation, partial awakening. Partial awakening, and the Buddhahood is full awakening. So the seed of perfection within you, seed of perfection or the seed of awakening within you, within that we see that this seed can be awakened partially, this seed can be awakened fully. Okay, so on the okay, tell me, what makes you, so all those you who raise your hand saying that I would prefer the fourth one, Mother waking me up. So why you prefer the fourth one the most? Why? In other words, why the fourth one? In what way the fourth one helps you to remove the fear?
Parce que je sors complètement du cauchemar.
I get fully rid of the nightmare.
Okay, your fear is nightmare is totally gone. So what makes you to remove? What makes this waking up remove your nightmare? How does it remove the nightmare? This is my question. Anyone?
Le fait que je me réveille.
Oui, mais de quelle manière?
Parce que ma mère m'a secoué.
Good. Your name?
Non, c'est Sophie. Ah, non.
Your name?
Martine, pardon.
Oh, Martin. One Martin? Who is the same Martin? Dear, okay. Sophie?
La peur n'est pas concrète, elle n'existe pas.
Because fear is not very concrete, doesn't really exist.
Oh, okay. So how the fear dissolves? What is the relationship between the fear dissolving and your mother waking up? What's the relationship between the two?
La présence aimante de la mère, protectrice.
The loving presence of the mother who protects you.
Okay. Jimbo was also loving.
Oui, puis ça marche si la mère n'est pas gentille, de toute façon.
And it works as well if your mother is not very kind.
Okay, anybody who wants to explain why the mother waking me up? Okay, yes, Kumbala.
You can see the reality of things.
Okay, because when your mother wakes you up, you see the reality. Which reality?
Alors, on voit que c'est...
Kumbala. No, tell me, Kumbala. With the dream, tell me.
The dream,
Which reality?
reality of life, not in the dream. We are not in the dream. We are in life. We are not there. These boundaries. We are.
So so from the dream you move to the real life, waking state. Waking state. So how does it help you?
How does it happen?
Yes, you saw the reality. What do you mean by seeing the reality? This next question. Are you married?
Parce que je me rends compte tout simplement que ce n'était qu'un rêve. Et donc, je suis complètement libérée parce que le rêve, c'est forcément une illusion.
Because I recognize the dream as being a dream. I see it as an illusion.
We say dream as dream. The dream goes as dream. That's not real. So, which the Kumbala is saying, we see the reality. Real means that the dream not being real, that is reality. Dream being real is not the reality. So you see the reality that the dream is not real. Okay. Virginie?
Because the danger in the nightmare, I know now that there is no danger.
There's no danger. So this what I saw in the dream as a danger. Waking up, you see it's not danger. Why not? Because it is just a dream. Wonderful. Okay. So is there anybody who likes to tell me how does it help if you know that the dream ghost is just a dream? It's just a dream. Dream ghost is not real. It's a dream. So your fear dissolves. Why? Okay, this is next question. All the answers that you have given, they're all correct, perfect. I'm taking you to the next level. Why? When you realize that the dream ghost is not real.
You're woken up from sleep.
You're waking up from the sleep. When you wake up from the sleep, how does it help? You realize that dream ghost is not real. How does it help when you realize dream ghost is not real? How does your fear dissolve? This next question. Ben?
Because you know that even if the ghost hurts you in the dream, it's only a dream hurt. It cannot really affect you.
Okay, so if the dream is when you wake up, so dream ghost, even if it comes to hurt you, it's a dream. It doesn't really hurt you in reality. Okay, I'm glad, thank you. So with this, what we learned today is that we have two aspirations. One is fearlessness and infinite happiness. The fearlessness we can acquire through waking up from the dream. Waking up, all the fears in the dream stops. You agree with me? You wake up, all the fears in the dream stops. So we have to wake up from the dream of life, not only the dream of sleep. You getting it? Dream, there are two dreams. One's conventional dream and other one is unconventional dream. Conventional dream is what everybody goes through. You go to bed, you fall asleep, you have a dream, you wake up, go to bed, sleep, dream, wake up. So which we do every day. That is a conventional dream. We wake up from the conventional dream every day. But we have never woken up from the unconventional dream. We are still in the unconventional dream. If you, just as you wake up from the conventional dream, the fear of the dream ghost chasing you stops. Likewise, all the fears of the dream like samsara will stop when you wake up from the dream of samsara. When you wake up from the unconventional dream, we should wake up. We have never woken up from this dream. We are constantly, every moment we're in the dream, we're in this unconventional dream. And because of which we have all these problems, sickness, aging, death, tension, depression, anxiety, anguish, and so forth. You have to wake. You have to, you have to come out of this, the dream, unconventional dream. We have never woken up from the unconventional dream. You have to wake up from this. So, what is your question? How to wake up from this unconventional dream? This next question. This requires a serious study, reflection, and meditation. This is extremely important, and if you are part of the Nalanda Monastery's program, basic program, and so forth, if you are not part of it, I would highly recommend you to join that, in order to lay the ground to wake up from the unconventional dream of samsara. Right? This requires a very systematic study, reflection, meditation. Otherwise, we will never be free from the sickness, aging, death, and the fears of life. Well, second part, infinite happiness. How to get this infinite happiness? This next question. Okay, it's already 10:30. So, that connects to the next session, which is how to acquire this infinite happiness, how to activate the seed of infinite happiness within us, how to activate this. Okay, next question. Okay, at 11 o'clock. Okay, so 11 o'clock we come back. Yeah. Gade gade paragate parasam odiswatyata om gade gade paragate Samvade bodhiswatyata om gate gate Parasamgate Bodhiswa